Now calling for more action from law enforcement.
Do something to protect the neighborhood. I'm sending emails to the mayor, to the police department.
At the beginning of this month, murder investigations were down compared to the same time last year. Well, now they're on par with the same numbers as last May.
7 News' Adriana Hopkins. Recent crime numbers telling a great tale for Fairfax County. Mostly.
We remain the largest, safest jurisdiction in America, and that's not a soundbite, that's a data-driven statement.
The one blemish for Police Chief Kevin Davis.
We jumped 17.7% in shoplifting.
But thanks to cameras, partnerships, and police strategy,
shoplifting's thefts in the McLean districts, particularly on and surrounding the Tyson's footprint, dropped nearly 20%.
Davis now looking to take the successful game plan from that area to other parts of the county. One key is consistency of execution of loss prevention protocols by businesses. Scotland on WMAL and WMAL.com.
A Virginia man facing attempted murder charges for an alleged road rage incident.
This happened Monday on I-95 in Prince George's County. So police say Freddy Gonzalez Esquivel of Leesburg shot at another car several times. Now, the driver and passenger were not hit. No word what led up to that road rage incident.
7 News' Adam Longo. When police searched the suspect's car, they found a gun and 7 spent shell casings. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser released a proposed budget Tuesday that she says makes no direct cuts on teachers or classroom programs. But education advocates say other cuts are just as crippling outside the classroom.
The draconian cuts this budget is making to basic services like Medicaid, like SNAP, like the child tax credit. It's going to do real harm to students and families' ability to succeed in school. Basic services that surround our students are going to be really hurt.
Education advocate Scott Goldstein tells 7 News there may be a beautiful stadium to look at in a few years, but the city's population will be devastated. With federal funding cuts coming, Arlington officials are asking their state reps to fight hard for more money from Richmond.
Our homeless shelters are full.
Anita Friedman, County Director of Human Services.
Our point-in-time count this year went up by 12%.
Board Chair Takis Karantonis wants Governor Youngkin to step in.
There is a huge political gorilla in the room that is somebody in the governor's mansions, preferably, has to pick up the phone and call the White House and tell them to stop.
Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
It's been around for less than a decade, but city officials are already looking to put the D.C. streetcar in mothballs. The city's budget has 2 more years of funding for the program before it's phased out in favor of an electric bus system that Mayor Bowser says amounts to being a next-generation streetcar. Officials say the current streetcars are reaching the end of their useful lives, and that replacing them with the same equipment makes no sense when there are no longer any plans to add more track or routes. The streetcar program took a decade to build and came in well over budget. It carries a fraction of the number of riders that buses carry on the exact same route. Checking your money, the Dow futures down 9 points, NASDAQ futures up 45, traffic and weather next.
Right now, hundreds of Texas children diagnosed with critical illnesses are waiting for their wish to come true. Children like Clara, who wants to build castles in the sand, and Raymond, who dreams of feeling the rush of piloting an aircraft. While they battle a life-threatening illness, they need something good to look forward to. For just $29 a month, your commitment to Make-A-Wish North Texas helps bring life-changing wish experiences to children when they need them most. Give hope today at wishesarewaiting.org.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflush.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflush.com.
Amy Winton in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Northbound 28, the crash is north of the toll road. We are jammed before McLaren Road to get through there. No change on the Beltway. Outer loop before the toll road. We still have the 2 right lanes blocked. High standing water has been the issue since the start of the rush hour. This backup is about the worst I've seen in a long time. Traffic is just at a crawl. Off the 270 out of Rockville and linking up with the delays coming out of College Park. Crash on New York Avenue is inbound after Florida Avenue in the delays that take you toward the 3rd Street Tunnel. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Areas of rain will taper to scattered showers this afternoon and into the evening. High temperatures upper 50s to middle 60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny, chance for a few showers and storms later in the day, upper 70s to lower 80s. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin in the First Alert Weather Center.
53 at Reagan National. John Matthews, News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Chris Plant.
Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
The Democrat Party, I have personally declared the party to be a terrorist organization, and every registered Democrat is now on the no-fly list. No-fly, be a lot better. Fewer psychotic episodes on airplanes. The hatch door no longer flying off the side of the airplane in flight. That's right, Democrats can no longer fly. Don't even come to the airport. Don't want to see you there. Democrats, that was Madonna, of course, on the mall in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump had been elected president. And a mob of demented, mentally ill women who are genitally obsessed. They gathered on the mall. It was supposed to be a rally for Hillary Clinton's electoral victory, and then she lost. Remember that? That was hilarious. And they gathered by the billions on the mall, and they threatened the world and to blow up the White House and the usual stuff. And that's perfectly in keeping with the Democrat Party today, because you may have seen, it's possible that you saw the story, that they've got a woman who is definitely a Democrat. She's most certainly a Democrat. They refer to her as a Broadway legend. And that doesn't mean she's a streetwalker. She apparently does plays in theaters, things like that, and sings and stuff. The Broadway legend Patti LuPone declares multiple times during an interview that President Trump's Kennedy Center, quote, should get blown up because the Democrats, they're a radical suicide death cult. They blow things up. They firebomb Jewish people and Tesla dealerships and Tesla automobiles. Everyone's in danger as long as the Democrats are on the list. I did see, I talked about it yesterday. What did we have? 5 homicides over the 3-day weekend, Memorial Day weekend in Washington, D.C., and then 2 more yesterday in Washington, D.C., 2 more homicides. And police say that every one of them perpetrated by a Democrat. They put out a press release this time. They said every single one perpetrated by a registered Democrat or a wannabe registered Democrat, but too disorganized to actually register as Democrats. Democrat Party. Now, Patti LuPone, famous, she's an award-winning actress. She's won awards for acting. She plays dress up and make-believe, and her anger counts. It's extraordinary. So, yeah, the Kennedy Center, no less, should get blown up. And I laughed this morning when I saw that until I noticed that the Kennedy Center had been blown up and it was in rubble and everybody inside was killed. It was quite tragic, terrible thing. Patti LuPone, she'll probably get an award for that, too. She'll get a Tony. She got a Tony, which is kind of a funny name for an award, but amazing stuff. So we got that because they're terrorists. They're all terrorists or wannabe terrorists also. And also we were trading yesterday, as we often do. Michael Piercy and myself and Randy and Kevin, we have a text thread and we share a lot of things. And boy, there was more. It wasn't just Patti LuPone, because I was looking at what the Democrats are saying now. And there's another Democrat, a well-known Democrat. They're very well-known. All these Democrats very well-known. And they're saying the only thing that can fix the world is a genocide. They're calling for but aren't they complaining about what they say the Israelis are perpetrating against the terrorists in the Gaza? That they're stop the genocide. And now they're all about start the genocide. But this time it's the Democrat genocide. It's the genocide against white people. You see, you got to have the white people genocide because there are too many white people, and medicine and electricity and instantaneous global communications and every invention that anybody uses any day of the year. Remarkable stuff. But we've got another genocide. We've got to have the genocide because Democrats, and it's the guy. Who is the guy? It's the guy that murdered the 2 Israeli embassy personnel in that double assassination. Too bad it wasn't a suicide attack, but now he's in a jail cell. Maybe we should give him Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell or something like that. But this is kind of an amazing story. The accused Israeli embassy staff shooter, I like to call him shooters. He's a murderer and assassin. Told friends, he's talking to his friends because he's got a lot of friends, the Jew-hating psychopathic Nazi killer. He said America would have to actually genocide white people. I've never, you don't normally hear genocide being used as a verb like that, have to genocide white people. So he's illiterate too. He's a Democrat. He went to public school probably, and would have to actually genocide white people to become normal. That's what he said. Normal. That's not my definition of normal. But if you're a Democrat, it might very well be your definition of normal because they're very, very mentally ill. And at Politico, the left-wing Politico, they've got a writer there, a typist for the radical left, mentally ill Democrat Party. He just amazing stuff. He has created a shadow cabinet for the Democrats, and he's got like Bill Nye the Science Guy in there. Bill Nye the Science, who doesn't even have a degree in anything except he's got a bachelor's degree in engineering, and then he did a children's show. So Democrats think that he's some kind of a scientific guru because of their tiny little brains. And they're very mentally ill. All of them, every Democrat mentally ill. And they've got a Newsweek magazine. Newsweek has an article. They've got they declare that Trump supporters love Putin. Trump supporters love Putin because they create these childlike fantasies in their tiny little demented, mentally ill, drug-addled brains. And then after a while, they repeat them 1,000 times. And like their boy Gurgle, they start to believe them. You remember their boy Gurgle said, a lie told once remains a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. So they tell the lie 1,000 times, and then they themselves start to believe their own fictions, their own fantasies, like Trump voters like Putin, that admire Putin. And that's a fantasy that they made up in their mental illness. And then they repeat it 1,000 times and they believe it themselves. There is not a Trump voter in the country that supports Putin, but the Democrat Party with their rabid mental illness, they can't get away from it. Isn't that amazing? You people, I got to tell you. And they got an update out of the Washington Post too with their guy, Jonathan Capehart, he's got his job for all the wrong reasons. But when Joe Biden was going around saying that the Georgia election laws that Republicans passed there to try to secure elections, Jim Crow 2.0, which are all Democrat laws. Every Jim Crow law was always a Democrat law. There was never a Jim Crow that was not a Democrat law. Every single Democrat is Jim Crow. Jim Crow wasn't an actual person. It was another fantasy that they made up, and they tagged some guy that didn't exist with their racist laws. The Democrats did. Oh, it's Jim Crow. There is no Jim Crow. You are Jim Crow. Every Democrat is Jim Crow. But they've got this Jonathan Capehart story because he resigned from the Washington Post editorial board. This is some time ago now, because they refused to be crazy enough about what Joe Biden was calling Jim Crow 2.0 in Georgia. And then, of course, the Georgia elections had a literal record number of black voters voting on election day, because everything they say is the opposite of the truth. It's pretty amazing stuff. And so I've got an update on Jonathan Capehart, because he is, he's got an update. Amazing stuff. Yeah, so blow up the Kennedy Center and genocide against white people, and commit a racist genocide is what they're calling for. Create a shadow government because they live in this mentally ill world. And Trump voters love Vladimir Putin, according to Newsweek magazine. That is pretty amazing stuff. And Newsweek with their headline, MAGA divided as Trump turns on Putin. You're mentally ill. I mean, honestly, you should, if you have press passes to get into government buildings, they should all be taken away for anybody that works for Newsweek magazine.
Did I hear you correctly say that perhaps he was influenced by Gergel and the Third Reich in terms of telling a big lie? I just want to make sure that's what I heard you say.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's what I heard that correctly.
You fucking cocksuckers. Ah. It's fucking sickening. This is fucking sickening.
So, because it's a discussion for another day. It's a little too early for that. So it just scratching the surface on some of the Democrat stuff, because they're really, really unwell. Oh, speaking of the Democrats, Dmitry Medvedev, he was actually president of Russia for a brief period of time, and he's Vlad the Impaler, Putin's right-hand man. And he yesterday got on Twitter, which was created by the American patriarchy. You're welcome. And he attacked Donald Trump, and he's talking World War III. World War III. You know, you guys, the left is just, they're a bloodthirsty lot. They certainly are. So Dmitry Medvedev is out there talking about World War III because President Trump had said something very disapproving about Putin's behavior, bombing and shelling Ukraine and all that, which is what he does because he's a communist. And that's what communists do. And the Democrat Party here in the United States, pretty darn close to being communist. We've had more Democrat Party suicide attacks in the United States the last few years, certainly than we've had Russian suicide attacks, and I think we've had more Democrat suicide attacks than we've had Islamic suicide attacks over the last, how many years? 5 years. I'm not sure where to begin attacking Steve Scalise and the Republicans in the baseball field suicide attack, shooting President Trump through the ear, Butler, Pennsylvania suicide attack. They've got, goes on and on. Self-immolating at the Israeli embassy in Washington, self-immolating at the Israeli consulate in Atlanta, although we still don't know whether that woman died or not, but that's interesting. They've got a lot of suicide today. We had the Democrat commit suicide at the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas while inside of a rented Tesla because he didn't want to use his own car, too expensive. But the Democrat Party is truly crazy, and firebombing the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania because the governor, who's Jewish, was too pro-Israel. So the Democrats had to firebomb him. They're big on firebombing, aren't they? In fact, there was a Democrat arrested. I told you the story yesterday at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York. He had been expelled from Israel because he was engaged in a plot to firebomb. He's a Democrat with Molotov cocktails. The U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv, the embassies in Jerusalem, technically, but the offices in Tel Aviv that he was hell-bent on firebombing because the Democrat Party is an anti-Semite party, and they run Harvard University and places like that. So we've got that. We got a lot of Democrat stuff. Also, speaking of Democrats, President Trump says he will meet with Gavin Newsom to talk hairstyles or what? What's that going to be about? No, over transgender, because Gavin Newsom wants men stealing women's trophies because they're all really screwed up in the head. They're not good at all. But in California, half the parents are like, let the tranny steal my daughter's trophy. The Democrat Party. Yes, sir. Actually, genocide against white people. Even Bill Maher, who I don't agree with anything he's ever said in his life, but even he's saying, hey, the Democrat Party might be getting a little wacky with this being pro-genocide thing against the Jews. Why would they? And P. Diddy is a Democrat. He's a Democrat. Child sex trafficking and torture and abuse and murder, plots to murder at least. Isn't that amazing? And Secret Service suspends agents caught fighting outside of Obama's home. Obama's multi-million-dollar home in the shadow of the main mosque in Washington, D.C. I got King Charles in England. I met him, my old pal, King Chuck. He was only Crown Prince Chuck when I filled him in on what was going on in Washington, but that was another. So the Democrats, they filled my cup with crazy news once again, and we remain at 888-630-9625.
There's only one Chris Plant. The Chris Plant Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
WMAL traffic from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center. No change on the Beltway. Outer loop near the toll road. 2 right lanes still blocked with high water. Huge backup coming off of 270 in the Beltway leaving Bethesda. Feeder roads trying to get to the Beltway at a crawl. Crash on the toll road is inbound after Hunter Mill Road. Crash cleanup northbound 28 north of the toll road. Inbound Massachusetts Avenue jam to the crash near the Naval Observatory. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Showers and thunderstorms today with the high 63. Scattered showers tonight, low 60.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with all service members and their families. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Making sense of your morning.
Lots of coverage here on that developing story.
O'Connor and Company. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Larry O'Connor here getting you through your morning.
Making sense of Washington.
Asking some very specific questions, some legitimate questions.
Making sense of the double standard.
And here's the latest example.
Making sense of the headlines.
Let me break it down for you, because there's plenty to break down here.
O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Mornings from 5 to 9. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
Every 15 seconds, someone is diagnosed with cancer. If it's happened to you or someone you love, the American Cancer Society can help at every step of the journey. Visit cancer.org today.
School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources. But when Communities in Schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesinschools.org. Being present matters.
Making sense of the headlines. Making sense of your world. WMAL's Vince Colonnese.
Thank you for all you do on the radio show.
What a nice call. Thank you very much. Weekdays, noon to 3. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. Making sense of the news. Your phone has a lot of apps. but how many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know, all without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
Thank you.
Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected. Making sense of the border.
Homeland security is right there at the tippy top of American concerns.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon. You've got to be tough. News Talk 105.9. WMAL, making sense of the news.
As a young adult at this point in your life, you probably have a lot of questions. Like, what's next? What does my future hold? The thing is, there's no right answer, only your answer. Your friendships, experiences, and purpose. It's all your choice. So what will you choose? As you make choices about the future, the military can be a resource for information to help bring a fulfilling path into focus. A public service message from the Department of Defense. To learn more, visit todaysmilitary.com.
My baby brother, a father. Come on, it's time for his nap. Whoa, he can't sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS.
SIDS?
You know, sudden infant death syndrome.
Guess I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
For more information, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
This is my new best friend, Esther. She might look like any normal, playful puppy, but Esther's being raised to become a canine companions for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of loving care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for her future family. Visit cci.org or call 1-800-572-BARK. Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
WMAL, making sense of social media, because big tech can't be trusted. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Now, here in Washington, D.C., where murder is normal because there are so many Democrats, and violent crime and all that. You know, we've got a lot of law enforcement. What do we have? 17 law enforcement agencies in Washington that have the power of arrest. I believe that's correct. 17 different law enforcement agencies. And one of them is the United States Secret Service. And the Secret Service has, you got your plainclothes Secret Service, Presidential Protective Detail. They do a lot of things. The Secret Service do a lot of things. They were under the Treasury Department. They should be again, instead of under the Department of Homeland Security. But in Washington, we also have the Uniform Division of the United States Secret Service, the USSS UD, United States Secret Service Uniform Division. And they provide security around the White House. You see them like police uniforms, very nice looking police uniforms. And they drive around in cars, United States Secret Service marked police cars with cherries on the top and, insignia on the doors and all that. And they provide security to embassies and ambassadors' residences and a lot of places in Washington, D.C. But here's a fun story from Mediaite, the left-wingers at Mediaite. Secret Service suspends agents. I think they're not agents. I think they're uniform division. Caught fighting in a fist fight outside Obama home. Quote, unacceptable, unquote. What's unacceptable? I'm not sure, but I think this might have DEI written all over it. I've got this for you coming up. 2 Secret Service agents have been suspended after they were caught on camera fighting outside former President Barack Obama's home in a fist fight. And it's 2 ladies, 2 female agents. Well, ladies may be the wrong room. That's coming up.
This is the Chris Plant Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
WMAL traffic from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center. Big story continues to be the Beltway outer loop near the toll road with the 2 right lanes blocked. High standing water. That's been the issue all rush hour. If you can avoid by all means, an hour and 30 minutes on the Beltway from near 355 out of Bethesda to the toll road. 270 jam back before 28 heading through Rockville to get into these delays. And same story with all the feeder roads trying to get to the Beltway. Toll road crash is eastbound after Hunter Mill Road. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Showers and thunderstorms today with a high 63. Scattered showers tonight, low 60.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
Around the clock updates and uncommon understanding.
Listen to this, because this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news. For a local news source you can trust, visit WMAL.com.
Thank God for that.
Get the day's top stories. Stream your favorite WMAL shows. Access our podcast archives and more. WMAL.com. Making sense of your world online.
Bright Focus Foundation's Alzheimer's Disease Research Program is paving the way for a cure. Learn about symptoms, diagnosis, and breakthrough research at brightfocus.org or call us at 1-855-345-6237 for free resources.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm Latoya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like Latoya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Making sense of the media.
The news media is attacking him because this is what happens when you're a Republican.
Chris Plant, weekdays 9 to noon.
Yeah, our news media, really.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Expert entrepreneur Ed Milet is on a mission to max out your life.
We're throwing open the metaphorical closet doors of our lives. We're going to be cleaning out the closet. What no longer fits? Audit some of your relationships. How about auditing your emotions? Maybe it's your career you need to look at. Get your life together for this season.
The Ed Milet Show.
It's time for a little cleaning of the soul. Let's get a little ruthless, a little refreshing, and a little real. God bless you, everyone.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Making sense of the headlines, making sense of your world. WMAL's Vince Colonnese.
Thank you for all you do on the radio show.
What a nice call. Thank you very much.
Weekdays noon to 3. News Talk 105.9. WMAL, making sense of the news.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Making sense of your money.
The state of the economy, the ability to afford your life. That's what people want.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese. Weekdays at noon.
The kind of thing I pay attention to, I'm looking at.
News Talk 105.9. WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Imagine the hospital experience. There's a constant parade of serious doctors, countless tests, and a serious diagnosis. Scary surgeries are followed by painful recoveries. You're in the hospital for days, weeks, months. Now imagine you're a child This is why Starlight exists. Starlight programs help kids in the hospital cope, build resilience, bolster confidence, and change their outlook, because happiness matters. Visit starlight.org to learn more.
WMAL, making sense of mainstream media, because the double standard is real. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
I want to get back to these two Secret Service women, Uniform Division Secret Service, providing the physical security outside of former President Barack Hussein Obama's house, which resides in the shadow of the main mosque in Washington, D.C. Most beautiful sound you ever heard is the call to prayer, you may recall. And so the Obamas, and they bought that house for $8 million from Joe Lockhart, who had been a Democrat Party political apparatchik and White House press secretary under Bill Clinton. And then he made a lot of money because the Democrat Party, they fund the party. And Joe Lockhart, who I've known for many years and is a perfectly nice guy, and he had this $8 million house and he sold it to the Obamas, I think, so he could buy something bigger, because the Democrat Party political machine can be very lucrative, But it's off of Massachusetts Avenue, Gesundheit, in the Embassy Row neighborhood. And in fact, if you go across Mass Ave, as they call it, Massachusetts Avenue, by the mosque, go across up another little side street and you'll arrive at one of the Clintons' multi-million-dollar mansions, a great classic old 1930s red brick mansion that the Clintons bought in the same neighborhood off of Embassy Road, because it's good to be a Democrat. They all get rich. Now, there is this is kind of fun, a Susan Crabtree, who is Real Clear Politics, a reporter with Real Clear Politics. Susan Crabtree posted the story. She's the national political correspondent at Real Clear Politics, RCP. You have to abbreviate everything. But Susan Crabtree got the scoop. She got the video, and she writes, "Breaking scoop, is DEI still plaguing the Secret Service?" Well, what are you implying, Susan Crabtree, that they are hiring women who are not good, and the women of color? Is that what Susan Crabtree is? It could be. Fracas outside Obama residence raises new questions, : They love their colons. "Get a supervisor immediately before I whoop this girl's ass." That's the quote here in Susan Crabtree's reporting on her tweet. And she did get the scoop. Susan, congratulations to Susan Crabtree. She's telling the truth here. Two female Secret Service Uniform Division officers got into a physical fight outside former President Barack Obama's D.C. residence while guarding it. See, they're supposed to be guarding it, and here and these two women, they're in a fist fight with each other, punching and screaming and cussing and all kinds of stuff. And they look like they're, a couple of toughies. One of them looked like she was definitely a tougher toughie than the one who was being beaten. That's how you can tell. The fracas occurred at roughly 2:30 a.m. early Wednesday morning. That's not this morning, but last Wednesday morning. According to two sources in the Secret Service community, they live in a gated community. It's very safe there. It's a community. The lack of professionalism was on display during the fight. It's true, they didn't look like they were one looked like she was pretty good at fighting, I got to say. The one on the right side of the video, she's throwing punches and she's got some moves on her. But the lack of professionalism was on display during the fight. And in a call one of the women made on a recorded Secret Service line to request a supervisor to come to the scene. And we actually have that here because Susan Crabtree at Real Clear Politics did a little gumshoe reporting and got some stuff. That's right. Get a supervisor down here immediately before I whoop this girl's ass. And I don't know. Was it a hate attack? Was it a racist attack? We're going to need to find out. Were there any transgender people involved? Because the Biden administration was in charge, Secret Service, And really Jill Biden, who's not a doctor, she was largely in charge too. And Jill Biden, she really loved the Secret Service. Do you know what I'm talking about? She really loved the Secret Service. She loved them. That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. So the Susan Crabtree, the lack of professionalism on display, and the call, get a supervisor down here immediately before I whoop this girl's ass. And the woman officer who made the call was upset that her shift replacement, the second woman, was late and assailed her verbally, right, and physically when she finally did arrive to relieve her. Again, it's like 2:30 a.m., so maybe the shift change is supposed to be 2 a.m., and the second Lady Secret Service Uniform Division officer showed up, not an agent. The media, they don't know. They use the words, but they don't know what they mean. So we got all that going. Audio of the early AM call is now circulating among agents and officers and is attached to this X post. It's unclear whether either woman was injured or whether they will be disciplined over the altercation. I've got to say, Michael and I were watching this morning and said they look like they both could, use a little discipline, a little bit of discipline, a little spanking. They got pretty amazing stuff. They got some discipline coming to them. And so one of them looks like she might enjoy discipline as a recreational pursuit, but that's another thing altogether. So raising new questions among fellow Secret Service agents about the agency's lowering of hiring standards during the years of the major DEI push. That means the Biden administration and of course during the Obama people, they hired people for all the wrong reasons. Hey, wait, she's a WOC. She's a woman of color. You know what we need? We need more WOC Secret Service agents and WOC Secret Service officers providing presidential security and former presidential security. And if they're slapping each other around and doing, before I keep this, it's the, this is the Democrat Party. This is what they create because the left.
She can also holler at them a little bit.
I can discipline.
She can discipline. That's, that there's good deal of spanking going on in there. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, we got an update on the French First Lady beating up the French president, too. He is a Frenchman, so it's not really fair. But we got that. So this is a fun story. It's kind of an inside baseball Washington story, but it's true. And Susan Crabtree at Real Clear Politics is raising all the right questions, and she's talking to agents. I can tell. It has to do with the hiring standards during a major DEI push. When that was to add more minorities and women to the ranks under previous Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle. And Kimberly Cheatle, I believe she's the one that was selected by Jill Biden, who's not a doctor at all, to become the head of the Secret Service. And then they had this left-wing ethos that they inflicted. And now you got these couple of B-words out there at 2:30 in the morning in front of Obama's house, his $12 million house. I think it's probably worth $12 million now. And it's I bought Barack Obama's house. I paid an extra $3 million because Barack Obama used to live there. Amazing stuff. So Cheatle, the Secret Service director in the DEI era, the diversity, equity, inclusion era, Cheatle resigned under a cloud after the, the J-13, I love it, assassination attempt against Donald Trump. That's right. She resigned in disgrace after the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt, suicide attack on President Trump, shot through the ear, of course, and famous photographs and amazing stuff. So the Secret Service for years has experienced low morale and a severe manpower shortage. Well, that's not manpower. She's woman power, right? And that's because the Democrats are in charge and now everything's much better. Pretty amazing stuff. It's also contributing to lower hiring standards, right? And as the agency works to increase its agents and officers, trying to increase numbers in the ranks. But you know how the Democrats are when it comes to all this stuff. Man, oh, Manischewitz. Shall we, would you like to take a... Oh, is that right? Okay, well, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to our friend Donna calling from Frederick, Maryland. Donna, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Well, good morning, Chris, and good morning to Michael Piercy, who always does an amazing job. I don't hear his voice as much as I used to, and it's nice to hear him every once in a while. But I wanted to comment about the little kerfuffle outside of Obama's residence. I think, and if they haven't done this already, it would amaze me, but I believe that whoever's in charge of the Secret Service and the FBI and the Justice Department, those individuals that protect Democrats ought to be assigned to Democrats. They push this on all of us. I think it's about time they get a taste of their own medicine.
So the DEI, all the low standards, lowering your standards, DEI hires, hiring people for all the wrong reasons, as Democrats always do, based on race and genitalia, even though they don't recognize or acknowledge gender, because they're very confused about that. All Democrats are. But you think that all the DEI hires should be assigned to protect now former President Joe Biden, former President Barack Obama, and if there's a future Democrat president, hopefully there never will be because the party will be abolished. But if there's a future Democrat president, they should only have DEI Secret Service protection?
Correct. You reap what you sow. They hoisted this upon all of us, and it brings me back to Butler, which was the most alarming thing our country's gone through since the Kennedy assassination. And, I'm sorry, I don't have compassion for people who didn't have compassion for our president and his administration and the literal hell they've put us all through. I'm just, I feel bad. I feel this way. It's not how I normally think, but in light of everything we've gone through from the pandemic and all the other nonsense, the wars, endless wars, I think it's time for things to change in a good way for the American people.
Time for a change. Things, they are a change. And I like your idea that if the Democrats want to lower standards for presidential security, then they should be the ones to experience the lowered standard in presidential security. And Dr. Jill Biden should not be left in charge of the Secret Service, just because every now and then she might think that the head of her detail living in the vice president's residence is a handsome man, and I'll just leave it at that. But Donna, it's a strange town, and these Democrats, they have a lot of strange proclivities. Many of them are sexual, and many of them are gender oriented. And if we had a news media in this city, they'd be reporting a lot of things that they're not reporting. That's been true for years, though, hasn't it, Donna?
Yes, it has. And, I love it when you say every day is an IQ test, because I'm hoping that many Democrats are seeing through the veil, seeing through all the falsehoods we've been told. We know there's sex trafficking in this country. We know there's drug trafficking. We know they have hidden bunkers. I mean, there are a lot of things that haven't fully yet to be realized by the public, but people are catching on. It's slow and steady. And at the very end, I think we will see justice. We have to be patient. The wheels of justice turn very slowly.
Well, that's certainly in evidence right now, and it's a good old saying. The wheels of justice turn slowly or grind slowly, and that's absolutely true. And we're watching it now. And also, Donna, I think you're right that we're even seeing it in polling off of college campuses that young Americans, college and not in college, are wising up to what's going on and to the fact that they're being lied to all over the place. And you got to keep in mind that the Democrat Party is the left. They're not liberals anymore. I think the Democrat Party used to be a party of liberals. Now the Democrat Party is the party of leftists, and they're shooting people and firebombing places, and they're self-immolating, and they're committing suicide and suicide attacks. And, that's political fanaticism all over the place, and their racial division, their gender division. They don't know how many genders there are. The Democrat Party has lost its ever-loving mind. But I do think that, in particular, young people and college-age people are waking up, and there's been very little reporting on it, but there are studies and polls that have shown that people on college campuses are more and more leaning conservative and waking up to the bourgeois that they've been fed, which is a really great thing. I mean, it happened during the Reagan years too. It happened to me. I'm one of the people that it happened to during the Reagan years. That, you know, I was raised and weaned on the left-wing propaganda, and then all the lies they told about Ronald Reagan became very clear during the first 4 years of Ronald Reagan's presidency, when everything went great and the media continued to lie about it. Said, hey, look, everything's wonderful, and they tell you that it was terrible. And it's like, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes stuff? And they're doing it again. And it reminds me, Donna, of the book by the Soviet author named Elena Gorakova, her book, A Mountain of Crumbs, where she wrote, the rules are simple. They lie to us. We know they're lying to us. They know, we know they're lying, but they keep lying to us, and we keep pretending to believe them. And that's, I've got to say, that was the Soviet Union. And Elena Gorakova, they're in her book, A Mountain of Crumbs. And now, in the United States, these are the rules. The left, forget about the Democrat Party, the left has set up the same set of rules. They really are the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union didn't collapse, it morphed. And the Democrat Party is carrying on the traditions, the horrible, blood-drenched, violent, murderous, dishonest, lying traditions of the Soviet Union. The communists there, the Democrats here, what's the difference? We're at 888-630-9625. Thank you, Donna.
So say it with me. Say Broadway. The future is on.
You're listening to The Chris Plant Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
WMAL traffic from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center. Outer loop of the Beltway remains a mess in Virginia. 2 right lanes blocked because of the high standing water for the toll road. It's been like that since the early rush hour. The Capitol Beltway is literally at a crawl from your 355 out of Bethesda, 270 out of Rockville, jam before 28 River Road. Clara Barton Parkway also affected, trying to get up to the Beltway delays. Lingering delays on Massachusetts Avenue inbound to the crash near the Naval Observatory. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Showers and thunderstorms today with a high 63. Scattered showers tonight, low 60.
We are the American Cancer Society, making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
My baby brother, a father. Come on, it's time for his nap. Whoa, he can't sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS.
SIDS?
You know, sudden infant death syndrome.
Guess I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
For more information, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Expert entrepreneur Ed Milet is on a mission to max out your life.
We're throwing open the metaphorical closet doors of our lives. We're going to be cleaning out the closet. What no longer fits? Audit some of your relationships. How about auditing your emotions? Maybe it's your career you need to look at. Get your life together for this season.
The Ed Milet Show.
It's time for a little cleaning of the soul. Let's get a little ruthless, a little refreshing, and a little real. God bless you, everyone.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
Every time I feel my baby kick, I sing. You don't understand. I never sing. I'm not good at singing. I'm the only person I know who's been booed off a karaoke stage. But that was before I was pregnant. Today, I'm a singer with a captive audience of 1. She doesn't boo me. She never will. We know how it feels. We're the March of Dimes. Find out how we can help you have a healthier baby at marchofdimesbaby.org.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
Inside the opening 45 seconds. What a goal! With that cannon of a left foot. All even at one.
Never miss a game.
What a start for the United States. Shot for distance. What a goal!
Never miss a moment.
Exquisite from the San Diego. Can he finish? Yes, he can! Yeah!
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm Latoya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like Latoya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my
There's
wounds,
more than one
so I
author
can help
who talks
others
about
out.
things.
Support more
like that.
victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
SweetDeals.com lets you spend less and have more. Save at least 50% on extraordinary restaurant, product, and entertainment deals. Plus, amazing vacation packages. Live large and save money while doing it. Go to SweetDeals.com today and start saving.
Hey, I'm Reba McEntire. In life, you'll hear a lot of people tell you that you can do anything you want. I'm here to tell you that's true. Since I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a successful singer and entertainer. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, and perseverance to find my success, but it was worth it. I never gave up on my dreams. Remember, you can never have a dream come true until you've had a dream. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Susan Crabtree has provided more detail because she wants to report the story. It's crazy. It's like she's in the news business and she's a journalist or something like that. Susan Crabtree says more detail about the reason for the fight. Multiple Secret Service sources say one woman, uniformed division officer, was triggered because the officer coming to relieve her at the end of her shift was late. Another well-placed Secret Service source says the replacement officer was only a few minutes late and that the woman officer who started the fight wanted a Dodge Durango and not the Ford Explorer that the other officer arrived in. The officers apparently have a choice of what cars they can check out when they go on duty, provide relief for a shift. And then source says, well, if that's all it takes to set you off, then this officer is dangerous to have around. But, it's a Democrat world. We're just living in it. The Democrats. Well, I hope they sort that out. I really do. Because, you gotta hire some Democrats. And what did the woman say in the cover? Was she wanted a supervisor to show up because otherwise what was going to happen? Something terrible?
Immediately before I whooped the girl's ass.
Whooped his girl's ass. And that ass getting whooped. Man, oh man. I'm telling you. At Politico is a left-wing newspaper of sorts. It's online. Everything's just online, right? Politico. And they've got a piece that they put together. Here, they love the Democrat Party. They say, here's who the party, you don't even just say which party because they know it's the Democrat Party. Here's who the party should tap. When they say tap, I don't think they mean what it sounds like. To take on Trump and refresh the Democratic brand. Got to refresh the Democratic brand. And so this person there, Bill Scher. Oh, sure. Like he went to Harvard. Bill Scher put together a list of people to shadow cabinet. And just to give you a hint, a clue, the EPA administrator would be Bill Nye, the science guy. He's got a bachelor's degree in engineering, and he did a children's show. And these people, their brains are not up to the task of really doing anything serious.
WMAL-FM
Anchorage, Washington, a Cumulus media station.
Making sense of the news.
News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 10. Good morning. I'm John Matthews. Breaking overnight, 2 men are dead after a shooting late Tuesday in Fort Washington. Officers called to a home on Harris Place where they found the victims outside with gunshot wounds. One man died at the scene, the other at the hospital. Police have not released any information on suspects or motive. D.C.'s deadly week of violence continued Tuesday afternoon with the shooting death of a woman on Pitts Place Southeast. The city's 7th homicide in 5 days. This neighbor telling 7 News she's had it.
It happens too often, and it's very scary, and they need to do something about it. I'm actually afraid at night to walk the dog.
2 suspects in custody in the shooting. Police call it another case of people settling scores with guns instead of words. Fairfax County is reporting a better year fighting crime so far, with one glaring exception.
Shoplifting remains our Achilles heel.
While incidents in the Tysons area are down almost 20% from last year, notes Police Chief Kevin Davis, countywide it's up 18%. So they're using what's worked elsewhere.
We actually are taking the Tysons model and we're scaling it to Fair Oaks, to the Mosaic, Springfield, and we're getting there.
Aside from police strategies, business approach to loss prevention remains key. That means calling right away when a theft occurs. Assistant Chief for Operations Bob Blakely.
We had a crime that occurred and our solvability has decreased, by 95%.
Scott Lynn on WMAL and WMAL.com.
No charges will be filed against a Montgomery County cop who shot and killed a suspect armed with a grill fork.
Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown says Corporal Cody Hobbs did not commit a crime when he shot Melvin Chavez Paz last September. A woman called 911 that night and said a drunk man wanted to fight her husband outside her house. When police got there, Hobbs saw Chavez Paz walking toward a group of people with what he thought was a knife. When Chavez Paz ignored Hobbs's orders to drop the knife, he shot him. The grill fork was found next to his body. Heather Curtis on WMAL and WMAL.com.
Arlington is bracing for federal spending cuts, and it's worried Richmond may not have its back.
This is a time when we need the Commonwealth to support us.
Arlington board member Susan Cunningham at a meeting with Arlington's state delegation, including Alfonso Lopez, while supportive, was clear.
Virginia's in a better position than most, but the idea somehow that we have a vault of significant amounts of funds available because we have a surplus right now, don't rely on that.
Arlington relies on more than $40 million each year in federal human services funding. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
Today marks 1 week since Israeli embassy employees Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram were shot and killed in Northwest D.C.
The Capitol Jewish Museum is set to reopen tomorrow. It has been closed since the attack, but Jewish Insider is reporting the museum will reopen its doors once again on Thursday, and it will feature a program honoring the victims. The museum has said it will have necessary security in place once it reopens.
7 News, John Rogers. The Dow is down 5 points at this hour. NASDAQ's down 8. Up next, traffic and weather.
We are the American Cancer Society, making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflesh.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflesh.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
Making sense of your money, the state of the economy, the ability to afford your life. That's what people want. WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon. The kind of thing I pay attention to, I'm looking at. News Talk 105.9, WMAL, making sense of the news. The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
Inside the opening 45 seconds. What a goal! With that cannon of a left foot. points, all even at one.
Never miss a game.
What a start for the United States. Shot for distance. What a goal.
Never miss a moment.
Exquisite from the San Diegan. Can he finish? Yes, he can. Yeah!
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
WMAL traffic and weather. Steve Hirshhorn in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
It's still extremely slow on the outer loop of the Beltway, beginning after Connecticut Avenue, all the way across the American Legion Bridge down to the Dulles Toll Road, where we still have the high standing water in 2 right lanes before the Dulles Toll Road. Along the way, on the outer loop after Connecticut, there was an accident on the shoulder, and then on the outer loop near 66, an accident there is off the road. 270 southbound is slow from Route 28 down to the lane divide, then down the spur onto that very heavy traffic on the outer loop. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Areas of rain will taper to scattered showers this afternoon and into the evening. High temperatures upper 50s to middle 60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny, chance for a few showers and storms later in the day, upper 70s to lower 80s. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rutan in the First Alert Weather Center.
53 degrees at Reagan National. I'm John Matthews. News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Chris Plant.
I think that we need to be skeptical of everything that we are told by people in power. And I mean, that obviously should be the mantra of being a journalist to begin with. If your mother tells you she loves you, get a second source. But we just need to remember that. Like, politicians lie. White Houses lie. Power is an aphrodisiac. And we just need to all remember that.
Jake Tapper. What is he, like 60 years old? He's been a journalist since he went on a date with Monica Lewinsky, which is what launched his journalistic career. And it's just occurring to him that politicians might not always be telling the truth. What he means is Democrats, because he's a former Democrat Capitol Hill staffer, he's a Democrat Party apparatchik, posing as a journalist at CNN, which is posing as a news organization. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. And it's the tired old 100-year-old newsroom line. If your mother tells you she loves you, get a second source. But Jake Mobile, Jake, old boy, you didn't do any of that during the 4 years of the Biden administration, for that matter, the 8 years of the Obama administration either. But you become a rabid badger during Trump administration. And then you discover only when you're trying to sell a book and you're trying to redeem yourself, which I think the window for that has passed. Hey, wait a minute. You mean politicians don't always tell the truth? Holy cow. Boy, that is really something. Jake Tapper at CNN learning that he should be more skeptical when it comes to Democrats lying to him about Joe Biden being brain dead and physically incapable, intellectually incapable, mentally incapable of performing the role of president of the United States. But Jake, he's on to them now. That's never going to happen again until the next time there's a Democrat in the White House. And then he'll say, boy, after 4 years of that, he'll say, I can't believe I was tricked again. Don't be tricked. Don't be fooled. He's not a truth seeker. He's not a truth teller. He's, boy, oh boy. Speaking of which, remarkable things going on. A very good Wednesday to you. And today, Wednesday, you know what that means? It's hump day in the Clinton household. Hillary's got to get out of the house after peeling her face once again out of the pool of dried vomit on the linoleum kitchen floor in one of their multi-million-dollar mansions, because Bill Clinton on hump day, he needs to clear out the house for whatever may happen. Whatever may, because, you know, Bill. And also that means that it's mailbag day here on the Chris Plant Show. It's mailbag day. And that's kind of fun. And Michael pulled some mailbag questions for our mailbag day. What happened to Kev? Old Kev. Kev's a busy guy. He's got a lot going on. Well, we've got some mailbag questions for you because it's mailbag day here on the Chris Plante Show, and we got some there's a pointed question or two, a couple of pointed questions, and I'm in favor of that. That's good, and some not so pointed questions, but let me get to those when I can coming up this morning on the big radio broadcast. Lots going on for sure. Yeah, these clowns at Politico, I laughed a little bit. Politico magazine, they've got a Democrat typing on behalf of the Democrat Party there. Well, they got many of them. Bill Scher in this case, S-C-H-E-R, Bill Scher. Sure, you're a journalist. And the headline is 21 unexpected heavy hitters for a Democratic shadow cabinet. He's trying to build a shadow cabinet. The Democrats, they have a lot of mental issues, as you know. In Washington, D.C., they would every now and then elect what they call a shadow senator, because in Washington, D.C., I live in Washington, D.C., I have for a long time, we don't have any senators because we're not a state. We're a federal district surrounded by Maryland and Virginia and the mighty Potomac River. But we have the District of Columbia. So we have no senators at all, no representation in the United States Senate. And we have no voting representative in the House of Representatives. We have no congressmen. We have no senators. We've got about 700,000 people living here in the District of Columbia, which is a number greater than a number of states have in terms of population. But because we are a federal district, we're not a state. And there are good reasons for that. You wouldn't want a super representative in charge of the District of Columbia that could dictate terms to the Congress because of their geographic happenstance, and two senators that would have outsized power because they're the senators from the District of Columbia from Washington, D.C. But never mind that. We don't have any and we used to elect, the people of Washington would elect Jesse Jackson to be our shadow senator. And other mental cases. We have this one non-voting delegate, the equivalent of the non-voting delegate from American Samoa, right, that shows up in Congress, but they can sit there and prattle on and say dumb things, but they can't vote, and that's good. And as it should be, as a federal district. You don't like it? You can move a few feet. You'll be in Maryland or Virginia, and you'll have two senators who, like Chris Van Hollen, who loves MS-13 and hates America. You can have a senator like that in Maryland, right? Or Jamie Raskin in Maryland, because they got these. But in any case, Politico magazine put together unexpected heavy hitters for Democratic shadow cabinet. You can have your shadow cabinet, take your shadow cabinet and put it where the shadow can be found. And I saw this morning. The ridiculous people at Politico and Bill Scher, a shadow cabinet as envisioned by the Michigan Democrat in an interview talking to a Michigan Democrat Senator Alyssa Slotkin, at least offered an intriguing idea. Build a shadow cabinet. This is what in third world hellhole countries, what idiots do that end up shooting everybody with AK-47s. Kind of like the Democrats on a baseball field, or the Democrats at a Trump rally, or the Democrats at a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C., assassinating two Israeli embassy employees. The Democrat Party is a terrorist group, have been for forever, I think. So the shadow cabinet, as envisioned by Democrat Senator Alyssa Slotkin, it's funny, in the writing of this story, they don't even say that she's a Democrat. They just assume that, well, of course, we're only talking about Democrats, so you don't have to identify the party of the person you're talking about. They're not in journalism, they're in left-wing politics. The shadow cabinet, as envisioned by the Michigan Democrat Slotkin, in an interview with Politico, could be composed of the ranking members of congressional committees who could then take the lead in challenging the Trump administration. They're really the party of 1861 all over again. It's a common feature of opposition politics abroad. When he says abroad, he doesn't mean he's just talking about third world hellhole countries, which the Democrats are trying to create here in the United States. and could be a way for Democrats to flood the media zone. I think you guys already do that for a variety of reasons, and deliver a coordinated response to Trump's most wild maneuvers, like trying to bring an end to the war in Ukraine, or securing our border, or not allowing rampant anti-Semitism on campuses of poison Ivy League universities. So ranking members have their uses. They're good at reclaiming their time and making motions to recommit. He thinks he's being funny now. So he's going on, and he says, well, wait a minute, our shadow Secretary of State should be Samantha Power. And they're going to have this little imaginary government outside of government. Samantha Power is the one that looks like, you just look at a photograph of her and you assume that she's addicted to methamphetamine. She looks like she's losing her teeth because of the amount of drugs that she consumes. And she was Barack Obama's UN secretary and, UN ambassador. And she is a radical left-wing extremist. So that's the first person he chooses as Secretary of State. Marco Rubio is a great Secretary of State. Who was Joe Biden's Secretary of State again? He lived in that $20 million mansion over by the Saudi ambassador's residence, and they had protesters out front, and he never did anything. He flew around on big airplanes and posed for pictures and didn't do anything. Didn't even try to stop wars in the Middle East against Israel or against Ukraine by the communist Vladimir Putin. Did absolutely nothing. What? Anthony. It's not even Anthony. He's Anthony. Just awful. They had Hillary Clinton, Benghazi. She just the worst possible. Unbelievable. So that's a great idea. That's who they've got. And Secretary of Defense, General Charles C.Q. Brown Jr. He's just, they like him because he's virulently anti-Trump. That's it. And then Attorney General Letitia James, who is known for nothing except being virulently anti-Trump. These are the people of Civil War. The people at Politico, Ben Shur and Letitia James and C.Q. Brown. And isn't that amazing? And I gotta tell you, these people, they shadow secretary, you can't have shadow secretaries. They want to have Mark Cuban as Secretary of Commerce because he's a multi-billionaire, and left-wing multi-billionaires are good. It's just multi-billionaires that are not left-wingers that they're very angry with, and their lives are in danger. These people. And I was watching this morning on the news, on the television, watching Newsmax and a little this and a little that. And they have Katie Hobbs, Governor Katie Hobbs, as Secretary of Education, right? Because she's a Democrat in Arizona, and there are a lot of irregularities surrounding her political successes. And I love this. Jon Stewart, the fake comedian, the unfunny comedian. They want Jon Stewart to be the shadow Secretary of Veterans Affairs because he saw the movie Saving Private Ryan, or what? I don't think he's ever been on a military base in his life. But Jon Stewart as the Secretary of the Department of Military Affairs, which makes no sense at all, just amazing. And Jon Stewart as a cabinet secretary. Why? Because they saw him on TV and they think, yeah, he has a TV show. They pay him $25 million a year to do one night a week, just like who? Rachel Maddow. They should have her as cabinet secretary. What would she be secretary of? I know, but I can't say it here because we're in polite company. I know what she'd be in charge of. Yeah, look at that. And Jon Stewart, Secretary of Veterans Affairs, based on what? Because of the Daily Show, he used to read other people's jokes. He's not clever when called upon to be clever, standing on his own 2 feet. Not funny at all. And Giselle Fetterman, Shadow Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, based on what? I just don't know. Because what, she married John Fetterman? That just amazing stuff. But she is married to somebody. His wife, Giselle Fetterman, ought to be secretary of something for no apparent reason. Just amazing. and Bill Nye, the science guy. They want to have Bill Nye, the science guy, as the secretary or the Environmental Protection Agency administrator of EPA, because he has a bachelor's degree in engineering. And he did a children's show. And these people have such tiny brains that they think Bill Nye, the science guy, and Jon Stewart would make an outstanding cabinet for the President of the United States because of their little tiny brains. Nikki Glazer as the Small Business Administration. They're really, these are not smart people. Letitia James as Attorney General. Well, she might throw Molotov cocktails at the White House, but never mind that. Aren't they amazing? And they're doing this with a straight face. And they don't do much with a straight face, do they? No, they don't. Usually with a gay face, with an LGBTQIAA face. You know that the big cell phone companies, big wireless, pulling one over on all of us, and it's time now to switch to consumer cellular. Listen, I got my consumer cellular deal and my consumer cellular plan, and getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide big wireless coverage for big wireless cost, because the big wireless people are ripping you off all over the place. It's not just about saving money on my bill. It's also about not being used by the big cell people. Do you even know how much you pay for your data? You know, what kind of data plan you have? Most people over the age of 50 use a whole lot less than the 8 gigs of data a month that you might be paying for. But Big Wireless wants to shove all of us into an unlimited data plan and charge a whole lot of money because they need you to cover the cost of 20-year-olds who are using their data plans 24 hours a day, a lot more than you do. Consumer Cellular. They set me up with a service and a phone, an unbelievably great phone. And hey, said here, try this phone. It's pretty good. It's incredibly easy to switch. All you have to do is give them a call. You speak to an actual human being on the phone, not an algorithm, not a computer. And that person that you speak to is right here in the United States of America, not a bot or something, real humans who are incredibly helpful. And it only takes about 20 minutes. So give them a call and make the switch today to Consumer Cellular. Call them at 800-760-0702. That's 800-760-0702. Yes, sir. Yeah. Our media and our Democrat Party, but I repeat myself. Yeah, new shadow cabinet. That's a good idea. Why didn't I think of that? I was thinking about a shadow cabinet for the Democrats and might start with Sirhan Sirhan. They just gave him parole in California a while back. Sirhan could be their attorney general.
There's only one Chris Plant. The Chris Plant Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflush.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to
cocksuckers. Motherfucker just went off. Just, the fuck? They have a cardinal outside.
We are the American Cancer Society, making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie. Professional cab driver. Sorry, professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Did you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Council.
Making sense of your world.
This is no conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Here it is.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
Listen to this, would you?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
Inside the opening 45 seconds. What a goal! With that cannon of a left foot. All even at one.
Never miss a game.
What a start for the United States. Shot for distance. What a goal!
Never miss a moment.
Exquisite from the San Diegan. Can he finish? Yes, he can! Yeah!
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, I'm Reba McEntire. In life, you'll hear a lot of people tell you that you can do anything you want. I'm here to tell you that's true. Since I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a successful singer and entertainer. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, and perseverance to find my success, but it was worth it. I never gave up on my dreams. Remember, you can never have a dream come true until you've had a dream. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
WMAL, making sense of the border, because laws either matter or they don't. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Well, we only have about a minute, but let's go to Alan calling from Chicago, Illinois, listening on the great WLS. Alan, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, good morning, Chris.
Hey.
Chris, for 4 or 5 years, the media has ignored the obvious, and that was the decline of Joe Biden. You would remember, as I do, when Al Haig walked out and said he was in charge at the White House after Reagan was shot. Mm-hmm. They vilified him. They ripped him no end. But, you know, the media has done this for decades. Remember Roy Cohn?
Sure.
Okay, remember Nixon? All of these are examples in my lifetime. You and I are roughly the same generation of how the media has been left and going further and further left every day. And one thing, I had a discussion with my doctor and others that are familiar with neurology. Look up Lewy body dementia. He fits it perfectly.
Yeah, I did look that up the other day. Someone else mentioned that to me the other day, as a matter of fact, and I looked it up. Yeah, and you're right. Joe Biden falls into that category. And more broadly, Alan, you're right about the news media. They have been slipping more and more to the left and less trustworthy. And they're trying to patch up their reputation that they have so blown up.
This is the Chris Plant Show. WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 10:30. I'm John Matthews. Germany is pledging to help Ukraine develop its own long-range missile systems that would be free of any Western-imposed limitations on range and target options as the Kyiv government fights to repel Russia's invasion.
There have been fears if the weapons struck Russia, the Kremlin might retaliate against the country that provided them and suck NATO into Europe's biggest conflict since World War II. At this hour, Metro announcing the launch of a payment system that will allow you to tap your credit or debit card to ride Metro Rail. The system will also allow you to use Google Pay and Apple Pay on your smartphone instead of a smart card. 2 men are dead after a shooting late Tuesday night in Fort Washington. Officers called to a home on Harris Place where they found the victims outside with gunshot wounds. One man died at the scene, the other at the hospital. Police have not released any information on suspects or motives. Traffic and weather next.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Steve Hirshhorn in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Around the Beltway now on the outer loop before the Dulles Toll Road. With all this rain, we still have the high water in 2 right lanes, causing delays now from 270 across the Legion Bridge down to the toll road. 270 is very heavy from Montrose Road down to the lane divide, then down the 270 spur to join that bumper-to-bumper traffic heading south on 495. On the inner loop, northbound near the George Washington Parkway, there was a crash. The right side of the road is closed. In delays up from 123. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day with the high of 63. It is 54 at Reagan National. I'm John Matthews. News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Imagine the hospital experience. There's a constant parade of serious doctors, countless tests, and a serious diagnosis. Scary surgeries are followed by painful recoveries. You're in the hospital for days, weeks, months. Now imagine you're a child. This is why Starlight exists. Starlight programs help kids in the hospital cope, build resilience, bolster confidence, and change their outlook. Because happiness matters. Visit starlight.org to learn more.
Your phone has a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know, all without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
Thank you.
Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected. Illuminating the issues.
There's a whole lot missing here in this story, isn't there?
Every day.
Why are we the only ones reporting this?
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news. Making sense of your world on the go. Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
This is for you.
Get the WMAL app on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
Inside the opening 45 seconds. What a goal! With that cannon of a left foot. All even at one.
Never miss a game.
What a start for the United States. Shot for distance. What a goal!
Never miss a moment.
Exquisite from the San Diego. Can he finish? Yes, he can. Yeah!
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Making sense of the headlines, making sense of your world. WMAL's Vince Colonnese.
Thank you for all you do on the radio show.
What a nice call. Thank you very much.
Weekdays, noon to 3. News Talk 105.9. WMAL, making sense of the news.
SweetDeals.com lets you spend less and have more. Save at least 50% on extraordinary restaurant, product, and entertainment deals. Plus, amazing vacation packages. Live large and save money while doing it. Go to SweetDeals.com today and start saving.
This is my new best friend, Esther. She might look like any normal, playful puppy, but Esther's being raised to become a canine companions for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of loving care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for her future family. Visit cci.org or call 1-800-572-BARK. Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
WMAL, making sense of party politics because somebody's got to hold their feet to the fire. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Yes. Now, the people at CNN representing the American news media, and it's mailbag day today, too, and it's kind of fun. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but we got some hate mailbag. We got the hate mailbag, got hate mail for mailbag day, and it's kind of fun with a fake picture of me wearing a baseball cap that says, "I want to be a Jew." The baseball cap says, "I want to be a Jew." And it's kind of weird. The picture looks like me, but it's not me. It's really weird. Looks kind of like me, but not like me. I want to get to that because I don't think we've ever had it. Or at least we've never selected hate mail for the mailbag, before. But let me, speaking of hate mail, let's get back to CNN for a minute because here's this kind of amazing story. You know, you've seen the video of French President Emmanuel Macron with his wife / school teacher. She was his school teacher when he was 15 years old. Now she's the first lady of France and she's his wife. And it's kind of one of those, what do they call, like spring, autumn things? Not the usual Washington, D.C. configuration where the man is 65 and the woman is 21, which happens a lot in Washington, but never mind that. This is CNN's story about the video. You saw the video. The French president with his wife arriving aboard the French presidential airplane in Hanoi, North Vietnam. I still call it North Vietnam and South Vietnam. And arriving in Hanoi, North Vietnam, where I've been, and it's communistic. The people are great, but the communists not so much. And as the door is being opened by a military officer on the stairs going down from the airplane, and the bride, his loving bride, grabbed him with both hands by the face and shoved him away like she had quite enough. I guess the flight wasn't a very good flight. Maybe the in-flight service or the meal wasn't very good or something, but she was very angry. And CNN, her name is Brigitte. That's a French lady's name. And so Brigitte Macron grabs his face and shoves him away like he's trying to steal her purse. And it was kind of an ugly thing. He looked out the door because the door's open. Military officer standing there going, "Oh, this is a good moment." And the guy who opened the door, the airplane door, and he sees a bank of television cameras down at the bottom of the stairs and kind of does a little fake smile, a little politician smile, and looks at his wife and is like, "Hey, we're on candid camera." And she doesn't care. And they went down the steps together. And the video is kind of interesting and just a little bit of fun, not really a big thing. But here's the CNN headline. Video of Brigitte Macron, quote, pushing, end quote. President Macron fuels Russian disinformation. I'm sorry, what? Now, why is the word pushing in quotation marks? You're saying that in the video, she's not pushing him? Why is it you put the word pushing in quotation marks? It's like when a plane crashes into the World Trade Center, do you put plane, quote unquote, crashes into building? No, the plane crashed into the building. And Brigitte Macron pushed President Macron in the face. But video of Brigitte Macron pushing President Macron fuels Russian disinformation. They love this Russian narrative that the left fabricated, really, I think, on behalf of Putin, because nobody benefits from this more than Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin benefits from all of this worldwide talk by the left in the United States, the New York Times and CNN, about how powerful and omnipotent Vladimir Putin is and Russia is. And they write at CNN, they write, a video of French President Macron's wife pushing him as they disembarked a flight has caught the attention of Russian trolls after going viral. Who cares? Now, you're promoting and playing up Russian trolls on the internet Who cares? Well, Macron himself tried to downplay the video, saying it merely showed a couple, quote, bickering, end quote. It's not the first time Russian troll accounts and state media outlets have tried to use videos of the French president to spread disinformation. Now, what's the disinformation? Are you saying that she didn't push his face, that Brigitte didn't push Emmanuel Macron's face? What are you saying? So they spread disinformation. CNN's Saskia Van Doorn has more. And then they've got a TV report from their Saskia Van Doorn. Saskia sounds like a Russian name. I don't know if she's got an accent, and she might be a Russian herself. I think CNN is spreading Russian disinformation. I'm not aware of any Russian trolls doing anything. I didn't see any of that. But CNN is trying to promote this. And here is their fake reporter, Saskia Van Doorn.
Macron later told journalists he was surprised by the attempts to twist the moment.
Twist the moment.
There is a video now which opens. We're in the middle of bickering and rather joking with my wife. And I'm surprised by how this becomes a kind of geoplanetary catastrophe.
French officials say the moment will likely feed the mills of conspiracy theorists and Russian trolls. It's already become a target for pro-Russian accounts and Russian state media who viewed it as a possible opportunity to spread misinformation.
What misinformation? What are you? You're empowering the Russians and Russian trolls on the internet, suggesting that they have these extraordinary powers and that they're spreading misinformation or disinformation, but you don't say what that is. This is not a news report. This is not journalism. This is somebody noticed that somebody online was making fun of Macron's teacher and wife, pushing him away on an airplane. And CNN is playing it up. They've got Saskia Van Doorn telling us all about it, but you didn't inform me of anything. You didn't tell me anything. I learned nothing from your ridiculous online report and your television report from Saskia. I learned absolutely nothing. Aren't you people amazing? You people. Just extraordinary. Man. They are, why? Why am I even hearing about this? Why am I hearing why do you put pushing in quotation marks? And I saw the video. We all saw the video. And you're talking about something about Russian disinformation and Russian trolls, but I have no idea what disinformation they're spreading. I know that you are elevating their standing. You are elevating their status in the world. And you're welcome to do that. But know that this is why no one believes you as a news source, why no one trusts you as a news organization. Isn't that amazing?
There is so much misinformation, disinformation, as we've been talking about. You talked about the video of the president wandering, and it's not true.
That was the CNN reporting when Joe Biden, as president of the United States, was in Italy for G7 meeting, or whichever G it was, the gathering of the group of 7 big economic powers. And Joe Biden wandered off when paratroopers landed. And was it in France or Italy? It was in Italy or France. It was in one of those European countries. It was Italy. And that's right. Then the Italian prime minister woman had to wander over and grab Joe Biden by the elbow and walk him back to where the other world leaders were. But this is what they reported at the time, is that, and you were watching it. It was, then they're telling you what you're seeing here is not what you're seeing.
What you saw is the Republican Party really manipulating what was being said and what was being seen by the American people. It's also very insulting to the viewers who are watching it. And so we believe we have to call that out.
This is cringe at the time, saying, oh, those Republicans are telling you saw Joe Biden wander off when we saw Joe Biden wander off. And the Italian prime minister had to walk over and get Joe Biden, grab him by the elbow and walk him back over to where the actual world leaders were. Our news media, they really, again, it's like German propaganda in the 1930s and 40s. Just extraordinary. And here's what you're watching. Here's the video And they tell you, no, that's not what you've seen. No, you didn't see Joe Biden wander off. No, you didn't see Macron's wife and school teacher, Brigitte, push him in the face. That's Russian disinformation. So if you cite it, if you make fun of it, if you make mention of it in news or in comedy, then the Democrat Party, the news media representing them here, will point at you and accuse you of spreading Russian disinformation. How does that make sense? Well, they're the left. Man, oh man.
The far right used selectively edited video to claim that Biden was wandering off like some dementia patient from other world leaders during the G7. When you extend it a little bit longer and it's unedited, you see a different story.
No, you don't. You see Joe Biden wandering off. There's another parachutist over there, and nobody looked more confused than the other parachutist. It was why is the President of the United States walking over here with his mouth hanging up and babbling at me when all the world leaders are standing over there? And the news media shows you the video and lies to you about it. Angrily, you hear the anger in her tone, right? And he said, oh, those Republicans are spreading, and it's Russian disinformation. You people, honestly, man. All right, I see somebody's called in about Macron and his loving bride, Brigitte, shoving his face out of the way. Let's go to Ron, calling from Southern Illinois. Ronaldo, you're on the Chris Plank Show.
Hey, Chris, really quick. I'm German. Every time you disparage Germans on the show, I start laughing. It's great. I've even started doing it with my wife. Anyways, the whole Macron thing. You watch this video, and no one around is reacting. They're like, "Oh, look, it's another day at home with these two." And his reaction was like he's been hit more than once. And like I was telling the lovely call screener, I'm pretty sure she's like Hillary throwing ashtrays at his head.
I was just thinking the exact same thing. I mean, it's true. The Secret Service around the Clintons, they know that if Hillary's throwing ashtrays at his head or bouncing lamps off of his head, that it's better to just kind of look the other way and don't make any mention of it. And you're right about that, Ron. There's a military officer, a French military officer at the top of the stairs who had just opened the door to the airplane. It's an airliner-sized airplane for the French president and his wife going from France to the former French colony of Vietnam. There was Indochine, and they're arriving in Hanoi. And the military officer with the open door standing there, and he sees this happen. And watch his face. Watch, if you got the video on the internet or something, watch the military officer standing at the top of the stairs for his reaction. And you are absolutely right, Ron, that the reaction is, that again, that's perfectly normal. And I, too, was reminded of the Clintons. So that's great. That's great stuff. And Germans, so you're of German stock. And look, you got to make fun of the Germans. You can't make fun of the Germans. Who's left to make fun of?
Exactly. We've been watching, try to make sure we don't say German words around the house like bratwurst. Otherwise, we might goose step.
Schnitzengruben. Got to, 15's my limit on Schnitzengruben. That's good stuff. And now you're doing German shtick around the house now.
I'm doing German shtick around the house with the wife. I've actually brought some of it to work. I need to be a little bit careful. Some people are a little sensitive, but they're one of the days when you went off on one of them. I just started rolling before I drove into work, and it's been downhill ever since then.
Excellent. That is great. I wouldn't call it downhill. I think, comedy everywhere is better than no comedy.
I agree.
That's what I think. Ron, a great call. Thank you very much, buddy. Southern Illinois. Ron, regular American people. See, German American, got that whole thing going. Got to make fun of Germans. We all grew up making fun of Germans, didn't we? Come on. My father went off to kill Germans when he was a young man, spent a few years doing that. And my father died. We moved in with my grandfather. When he was young, you know what he did? He went off to kill Germans. Because it was a thing back then. It's not as popular as it used to be. But that's and the Democrats, they really wish they'd like to have the Germans act up again because get back to just killing white people. The Democrats love that. Like I got this story today about the guy who shot the two Israeli embassy employees and murdered them, assassinated them. That guy, He's all about assassinating. Well, he wants a genocide of white people. I haven't gotten fully into that. I got to get into that too. That's quite a story, because he's raised by Democrats. He's raised by people that call themselves liberals. That's why he assassinated 2 people at a Jewish museum who happened to be Israeli embassy employees, because he was raised by the Democrats. And ask his friends, yeah, what's the deal with him? Oh, yeah, he wants genocide. He wants the only way to save America is to kill all the white people. He was raised, he's a white person. He was raised by the Democrat Party. They're not well, these people. Father's Day is coming up. It's going to take you by surprise again. What do you get the man who insists that he doesn't need anything, may not have everything, but says, I don't need anything? Well, I've got the answer, and it's a good one, especially if you're thinking about dad's health. I've got friends whose fathers have had strokes or dealt with AFib, atrial fibrillation. That's why I think the Cardia Mobile 6L is one of the smartest, most thoughtful gifts that you can give any adult man. It's the most advanced personal EKG that you can buy, FDA cleared to detect atrial fibrillation, the leading cause of stroke, of course. It records medical grade heart data anytime, anywhere, right onto your phone. It gives you 6 views of the heart, which is 6 times the data of any smartphone. People think they're getting good data from their smartphone. And at a fraction of the cost of a smartphone, I might add. This is the kind of gift your dad will actually use. And it gives you peace of mind, too. Could actually save a life. For a limited time right now, Cardia Mobile is giving 10% off for any of my listeners. That's you. All you have to do is go to Cardia.com. That's Kardia.com. Or to Amazon, and you use the code 106L-PLANT. That's the 6L is the device. That's the number 10, the number 6, the letter L, followed by PLANT, 106L, plant. That's Cardia Mobile 6L. Cardia Mobile 6L, sponsored by AliveCor. Yes, sir. The Germans. Think. From Hogan's Heroes to Mel Brooks. It never ends.
Elysee Palace originally said it was fake. Then yesterday, the press team said, no, it's real. They were having a laugh.
You're listening to The Chris Plante Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
We are the American Cancer Society, making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. You can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Making sense of your world.
Common sense. Let's get back to common sense.
WMAL's Vince Colonnade, weekdays at noon.
Now that should give you a lot of cause for hope.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news. Making sense of the media.
The news media is attacking him because this is what happens when you're a Republican.
Chris Plante, weekdays 9 to noon.
Yeah, our news media, really.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. Cumulusboost.com. CUMULUSboost.com.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with all service members and their families. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
As a young adult at this point in your life, you probably have a lot of questions. Like, what's next? What does my future hold? The thing is, there's no right answer, only your answer. Your friendships, experiences, and purpose. It's all your choice. So what will you choose? As you make choices about the future, the military can be a resource for information to help bring a fulfilling path into focus. A public service message from the Department of Defense. To learn more, visit todaysmilitary.com.
75 years of research, 75 years of policy, 75 years of opportunity.
75 years of freedom.
This is 75 years of the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
Join us at mda75.org.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back.
I think the boundaries are getting a little unboundaried, but that's fine.
From relationships,
it's grabbing coffee with your friends. That is
right up my alley.
Right?
To business and beyond.
Where there's history, true friendships, but it's fine. I've also been a rat. I'm obsessed with her. I hate her. Literally the exact same feeling.
If you really want to party,
you have to have the perfect combination.
Give them Lala. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources. But when Communities in Schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesinschools.org. Being present matters.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie.
Professional cab driver.
Sorry, professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Did you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Council.
Making sense of the headlines, making sense of your world. WMAL's Vince Colonnades.
Thank you for all you do on the radio show.
What a nice call. Thank you very much.
Weekdays, noon to 3. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. Making sense of the news.
SweetDeals.com lets you spend less and have more. Save at least 50% on extraordinary restaurant, product, and entertainment deals. Plus, amazing vacation packages. Live large and save money while doing it. Go to SweetDeals.com today and start saving.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Making sense of your world on the go. Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app. This is for you. Get the WMAL app on Google Play or the Apple App Store and stay connected. WMAL, making sense of the economy because it's your money and your retirement. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Bam, 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 bam. Macron is, this whole thing is very popular, and CNN telling us it's fueling Russian disinformation. CNN should lose all of their press credentials to all government buildings. Let's go back to the telephones. We know what we saw. We saw what we saw. It's right there on video. Let's go to, it should start a national discussion about women abusing men. French men. Let's go to Rod, calling from Little Rock, Arkansas. Rod, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, Rod.
You know, I've been happily married 3 times. I'm pretty sure I know when somebody gets smacked in the face. I mean, I think I've been smacked a couple of times. I'm a trucker. I've kind of got a handle on these things. You know, he got the hell knocked out of him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't the first time because I bet the French Air Force One, the only command to open the door in the world is Dutch. Because, I mean, he just got nailed. That wasn't a push.
Yeah, it wasn't so much. It was an assault. I think in Hanoi they probably won't press charges though.
No, it's the French way. I don't know if they call it assault or a pepper, but I guarantee you, he's feeling it. You know, the next morning, right?
That's fun. You're a fun call, and I just want to be clear. You've been happily married 3 times.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations to you. That's wonderful. Not everybody
Chocolate
can
milk.
say that. That's good stuff. Rod, he knows where he knows.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 11. Good morning, everyone. I'm John Matthews. New this hour, the death of Virginia Democratic Congressman Jerry Connolly has left both a void and an opportunity to fill his 11th district seat.
Democrats are moving swiftly with at least 4 candidates lining up for the special election, which, due to state rules, cannot be held until after the upcoming June primary.
I ran out of lettuce.
Lieutenant Governor, AG, and state legislative seats. So far, GOP Governor Glenn Youngkin has not scheduled a special election, which is also required by Virginia law, and may be in no hurry to do so, given the slim GOP majority in the House. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
The White House reportedly putting a halt to new student visa applications, a move critics are calling an attack on free speech.
U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services indicated back in April something like this could be coming after a broader crackdown on pro-Palestinian campus demonstrations online. This move could put a slow on visa processing and potentially also place a financial strain on the schools that rely on foreign students' higher tuition fees. NAFSA, the Association of International Educators, which advocates for foreign students, said in a statement, the idea that the embassies have the time, capacity, and taxpayer dollars are being spent this way is very problematic.
Fox News' Jackie Heinrich, a lot of those international students would be heading to Harvard, where federal funding is also under attack.
Harvard's President Ellen Garber is arguing against the extensive cuts that the government is making to the Ivy League institution's research funding. As the Trump administration is urging all federal agencies to review Harvard contracts for termination or potential transfer, Massachusetts Governor Democrat Maura Healey, a Harvard grad, slammed the move as an attack on the life-saving, world-changing research that happens at Harvard and at colleges and universities across the country.
Fox News' Molly Lyon, those massive DOGE cuts to the federal budget have slowed significantly in recent weeks.
DOGE has saved around $175 billion so far, according to its website. That, of course, is a long way off from the original $2 trillion goal. The agencies that have made the biggest cuts so far, like Health and Human Services, Departments of Labor and Education, they did so mainly by eliminating jobs and canceling contracts. Of course, we saw the fierce pushback from those on the left as that happened. And then on the Republican side, lawmakers in Congress who support DOGE's mission have so far not codified into law many of those DOGE cuts.
Fox News' Grady Trimble. Congratulations, Marylanders. You are paying far more than average to live there. Maryland is the 5th most expensive state when it comes to paying bills such as rent, utilities, insurance, and the like, trailing only California, Hawaii, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. That according to a study by bill paying service Doxo. Maryland pays 22% higher than the median. Virginia comes in at number 12, 9% above par. The cheapest place to live? It's right next door in West Virginia. Checking your money. The Dow is down 79 points at this hour. The Nasdaq's down 39. Up next, traffic and weather on WMAL.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflush.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflush.com.
SweetDeals.com lets you spend less and have more. Save at least 50% on extraordinary restaurant, product, and entertainment deals. Plus, amazing vacation packages. Live large and save money while doing it. Go to SweetDeals.com today and start saving.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
WMAL traffic and weather. Here is Steve Hirshhorn in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Better news on the outer loop of the Beltway. Just before the toll road, the high standing water has receded from the right side of the roadway. So everything's been reopened, but it's still extremely slow from the exit to go north on 270 past the spur across the bridge into Virginia. 270 southbound is very heavy from Montrose Road to the lane divide, and the 270 spur slows from the lane divide down to the outer loop of the Beltway. Complicating that was an accident on the 270 spur southbound right before you get down, merge with the Beltway. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Areas of rain will taper to scattered showers this afternoon and into the evening. High temperatures upper 50s to middle 60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny, chance for a few showers and storms later in the day, upper 70s to lower 80s. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rutan in the First Alert Weather Center.
Right now it is 54 at Reagan National. I'm John Matthews, News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Chris Plant.
Why should people trust them now, right? Because I don't know who cabinet secretaries were, but maybe they probably want to work in a different administration. They want to be on K Street. They want to be at some think tank. Why should anyone trust them when they spend all this time? Apparently, no one got this information and not telling anybody.
Yes. Eugene Daniels. He's the president of the White House Correspondents Association. Why would these, they're not in the truth business. Why would the Biden people work on K Street? Well, they're not inventing anything new here. I don't know how long you've been around this town, but pretty remarkable stuff. He should go have dinner with Jake Tapper. They can see if they can figure out anything together. Seems unlikely, however. So we have that. Now, I've got, one of my favorite news people in Washington, D.C. is Lickspittle. You know Lickspittle. Chris Cillizza is his name. And he's a lefty, of course. He's a lib. He's a Washington news reporter. I'm making quotation marks with my fingers. And a kind of a fun story, I've got to say. On Mediaite, the left-wingers at Mediaite have the story. Chris Cillizza. They left out Lickspittle there. I don't know why they did that. That was his fraternity name. His frat house name was Lickspittle. And he asked, why? And they said, why not? So Chris Lickspittle Cillizza reveals his Tesla. It's a revelation. He reveals his Tesla. It's an Elon Musk automobile. Was vandalized with Musk is a Nazi. They love this whole Nazi thing, don't they? They're all about this Nazi thing. It was vandalized with a Musk is a Nazi sign when he was at his son's soccer tournament, where they dressed like Nazis. Do they have their soccer uniforms, wearing armbands or anything like that? And David Gilmour at Mediaite writing, former CNN political analyst. That's his title. That's what it says on his business card now. Former CNN political analyst. Former CNN political analyst Chris Lickspittle Cillizza hit out at the politicization of everyday life. Yeah, I wonder where that started. After someone taped a sign. That's not really, you should spray paint it or scratch it in the paint. You can't just tape a sign. You can just, if it's taped, you can just peel it off. That's no big deal. Taped a sign that read, Musk is a Nazi, to his Tesla at a soccer tournament over the weekend. In a new video and post on his Substack, my great Aunt Mary has a Substack, and she died in 1983. It's amazing. Cillizza described the moment he returned from his son's soccer match to find the message fixed to his bumper. I said, it's only taped and it's on his bumper. That's just a bumper sticker. You might want to put that there on purpose. It'd be safer driving around. I was behind a Tesla driving in Washington, D.C. yesterday or day before yesterday. There's a Tesla in front of me. And what it said, the sticker on the back said, I bought this before the plot twist. That's what it said, the plot twist. I brought it before the plot twist. And so Lickspittle, because these people are desperate for attention, Lickspittle decided to post a video about this traumatic experience that he suffered. It's like, honestly, it's like surviving the Houthi rebels in Yemen. But here's Lickspittle talking about the trauma that he experienced coming back to his car, his Tesla, naturally. With his kid, he's got a son that plays soccer. That's a little surprising, isn't it? Might be his daughter. Could be his daughter, but he calls his daughter his son. We're not clear on that because it could go either way, like everybody in his family.
So over the weekend, I was in Richmond, Virginia, at a soccer tournament for my son. And
why?
We parked my car, which is a Tesla.
It's a Tesla.
And we went to watch the game.
All right.
When he and I came back, there was something attached to it that was not there when we had left. It was this.
Uh-oh.
Someone had taped a sign, "Musk is a Nazi," to my car.
Taped it. I don't think that's a big deal. It was taped to your car. So what, you had to go to the great length of using your fingernail on your right index finger to get under the tape and then peel it right off? So, because normally what I've seen in Minnesota, remember we had that guy who's scratching, keying every Tesla he walked by, and it turned out he worked for the governor, right? He worked for the governor in Minnesota, who's the Democrat, Tim Walz, who thought that he was going to be vice president of the United States or something, and he still can't load a 12-gauge shotgun, and he pretended that he served in Iraq. And these people, can I just say? So Lickspittle, very traumatic experience to have this terrible thing happen to him.
Now, they obviously had pre-written this, or they have a bunch of them, right? But Musk is a Nazi taped to my car. So this is the first time I've experienced the sort of politics of Elon Musk and Tesla, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it.
You did? Nobody wants to hear about your little moment. I guess it's the most dramatic thing that's happened to him since high school, and that was in a locker room. He doesn't talk a lot about that one. Man, so Lickspittle, he bought the Tesla Model 3 in 2019 or 2020. He's not sure. He's a reporter, and he has no idea when he bought his car. He recalled how the vehicle was once meant. It meant you were coding yourself like an enviro-liberal wacko communist. Does he say that in his little thing? Because he's a wacko communist. He bought it because that made him out to be an enviro-liberal wacko communist, and that's why he bought it. And that's why they all bought him, because it was about posturing and preening and I'm more liberal than you are, and I'm an environmentalist, and my car doesn't pollute because I plug it into the wall and it charges on electricity. And of course, the electricity comes from the coal burning plant a couple of miles away. So your Tesla is actually coal powered, but never mind that. It'd be much cleaner if it were nuclear powered. But Democrats won't allow you to build any nuclear power plants because they're not on the side of clean energy. They're on the side of posturing and preening and lying about everything. Lickspittle solicit.
The big concern I had, because this was the big thing that was happening, was sort of pro-MAGA people keying the car or smashing it or running into it on purpose. Or
Nobody, that never happened.
Real engines, not electric cars.
Pro-MAGA people. Never happened.
Back then, right? It was like, you're coding yourself as like a enviro-liberal wacko communist if you bought a Tesla.
And nobody vandalized them. Nobody vandalized them until the left turned on Elon Musk. Now they're firebombing them with Molotov cocktails. They're using rifles to shoot up the storefronts at Tesla dealerships. They're firebombing the Jewish governor's house in Pennsylvania. I know that's unrelated to Tesla, but I just wanted to throw it in there. They're gunning down Israeli embassy employees at a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. And here he is. He's making up this stuff. He's spreading Russian disinformation. I just want to put the word Russian in front of it. He's spreading Russian disinformation because and these MAGA people. I don't think a MAGA person has even punched anybody in the last 20 years. You people are mentally ill. And here's Lickspittle. It says, yeah, MAGA people were keying and doing other things to Teslas. We've all seen the videos, and it's all lefties. And it's all because you people are a hate cult and you destroy the world. You know, you're the left. Honestly, you're like the end of a science fiction movie.
The coding was, you are a wacko liberal who hates what America is built on, which is like Ford trucks or whatever.
Except nobody vandalized.
So it is amazing to me
until
that
you guys.
years on, I am getting this on my car because Elon Musk has now become sort of persona non grata for the non-MAGA.
I'd say persona non grata, but instead of persona non grata, but that's me. English is my first language. And Lickspittle, he's really, oh yeah, this was so traumatic for me. And then he tries to turn it into MAGA people are keying and vandalizing and doing what? That never happened. That would have been a big story if that had been true, but that didn't happen. When the left turned on Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is his life is in danger every day, in grave danger. Is there another kind? And these people, they just, do you think they believe, this is one of the standing questions, do you think they believe the lies that they tell themselves, or do they know they're lying? Do they know that they're making stuff up just for political reasons? Or are they so far gone? I got to tell you, Democrats, what's the matter you? You got no respect. So amazing. All right, now I've got, that's Lickspittle. He's a sad, sad person. He's a former CNN political analyst. Man, oh man. And I'm looking at the clock. I don't think that I should get into the mailbag right here because I'd have to rush through it. I'd have to rush and hurry, and I don't want to do that. But I can do a little bit, I guess. Let me do the hate mail. I can do the hate mail here. And I've never done this before. I've never gotten hate mail for the mailbag. But, there are Democrats out there. And we should post this, I think. We should definitely post this. Because somebody, Frank Isaias, ISAIS, Frank Isaias, he sent a picture. It's an AI, an artificial intelligence photograph of me wearing a suit and tie and wearing a red baseball cap. And on the red baseball cap in white lettering, it says, I want to be a Jew. It says, I want to be a Jew. That's what it says. So I'm wearing the baseball cap, and Frank Isaiah says, why do you want to be Jewish so bad? Why do you want to be Jewish so bad? That's the question from the mailbag from Frank Isaiah, because he's a liberal, and that means he's an anti-Semite, and that a couple of days after a nice young couple, a young man and a young woman, were assassinated, murdered, both of them murdered at a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. at an evening event there, and gunned down, and you guys firebombed the Jewish governor, Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, firebombed his home during Passover with his family inside late at night when the family was sleeping, 2 Molotov cocktails. And this is what the Democrats are. They chant from the river to the sea, and they hate everybody. And Frank Isaiah says, why do you want to be Jewish so bad? I don't actually want to be Jewish. I'm Irish Catholic and Basque. I'm Irish and Basque, and I'm Catholic. And I'm very happy being me. It's really pretty great being me, I've got to say. Not everybody is as lucky as I am being me and everything. But here's the Democrat, the hate mail. Why do you want to be Jewish so bad? And I think my response to Frank is because, like Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg's real name is Karen Johnson, but then she decided to ironically name herself Whoopi, like she's happy, and Goldberg like she's Jewish, so she could, But I think really I want to be Jewish. I don't want to be Jewish, but I want to be Jewish because, like Whoopi Goldberg, I want to be very successful in show business. And I'd like a Nobel Prize, and I want to get a Nobel Prize in science or economics, or maybe the Peace Prize. That'd be fine too. That'd be great. Why do you want to be Jewish? And it's kind of fun because he tweeted this to us and people started responding. And he's very angry, Frank Isaias. Why are you pointing out the age difference between the French president and his wife, but are silent about Drumpf press secretary's age gap with her husband? Well, in Washington, it's perfectly normal for a 59-year-old man to have a 27-year-old wife. But the French school teacher moved in on the 15-year-old boy while he was a student going to school with her daughter. And now she's the first lady of France, and he's the president of France. She must give him good school teacher, I'm guessing. I don't know, as he's gone ahead pretty well. So this guy's, he's very angry, and he's got, I assume he's an anti-Semite. Pretty good stuff. Yes, sir. And Operation Crossfire Hurricane said, well, Caroline was 25 when they met, not 15. So you got that. And it's that's one thing. And it's much more, you know, that's the thing. Yeah. And then he responds, ha, 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 because they had a relationship when he was 15. Typical right-wing nut response. Typical right-wing nut response. They didn't have a relationship when he's 15. They're married now. I don't know if you're not keeping up with the news here. Sorry, pal. I'm thinking, Frank, you got a problem with your brain. Your brain, she's a broke. She's a no good. You know that since overturning Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court overall, abortions have actually increased by about 1% last year. They said, oh, no, there won't be any more abortions. So they've actually increased. That translates to a reported 1,038,100 unborn babies being snuffed out. Every one of these lives was precious, of course. Preborn's network of clinics are strategically located across the country in the highest abortion areas, ready to help support young women making that decision about their lives and their babies' futures. Through compassionate, loving care and free ultrasounds, Preborn helps women connect with the life growing inside of them. Once she hears the baby's heartbeat, sees it waving at her inside, the chance of the baby living a long and happy life doubles when you see an ultrasound. Last year alone, Preborn rescued more than 67,000 babies. So please consider getting involved. Save a life. Your monthly support of $28 makes this mission possible. Life is sacred, of course. Life is eternal. To donate, all you have to do is dial pound 250 and when prompted, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250. The keyword is baby. Or you can go to Al Gore's Amazing Internet and go to preborn.com/plant. That's me, Plante. That's preborn.com/plant. Yes, sir. All right, so we got a little hate mailbag. And we don't get a lot of those. And it's great because he did it on Twitter, and people are making fun of him. You know, in a nice way, in a polite way. Crazy Democrats. All right, more mailbag coming up this hour. And crazy Democrats.
There's only one Chris Plant. The Chris Plant Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflush.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflush.com.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Hi, I'm Vince Colonnese, host of The Vince Show and Vince Podcast. It's a show with an obsessive focus on what's good for America. I'll give you the truth beneath the headlines of all of the nation's top stories. The Vince Show is redefining news talk with in-depth interviews, live caller interactions, and a front row seat to the most important conversations of the day, every day. The Vince Show and Vince Podcast.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon. News Talk 105.9. WMAL, making sense of the news.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, millions of kids don't have the supplies they need. Donor Shoes is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. Learn more at DonorShoes.org.
I am Michael Rosenbaum. I am Tom Welling. Welcome to Talkville, where it's fun to talk about Smallville. We're going to be talking to sometimes guest stars. Are you liking the direction Flo is going in?
Yeah, because I'm getting more screen time.
It's good. But mostly it's just me and Tom remembering. I think we all feel like there was a scene missing there. You got me, Tom. Let's revisit it. Let's look at it. See what we remember. See what we remember.
I had never been around anything like that before. I mean, it was so fun.
Talkville. Talkville. I just had a flashback. Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Let's get into it.
Clarity and context for a complex world.
I'm going to be far more thorough and specific than ever before.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
How often should you shower? It's a question I recently put to Dr. James Hamblin, author of Clean, The New Science of Skin. I spoke to him for my podcast, Chasing Life. Walking through his local pharmacy one day, he noticed the vast selections of soaps and shampoos on the shelves, and he asked himself, what is this all for? How much of it is actually necessary for health? How much of it is just personal preference? Am I wasting my time and my money? Would I be better off if I did less? The conversation we had about this was fascinating, but it can be boiled down to this. Bathing is not the same as hygiene. We should all practice good hygiene, and obviously,
bathing is just part of hygiene.
What needs to do to feel clean is different.
Trimming your nails, brushing your teeth,
Smell. All the products out there are kind of pretty much the same.
brushing your teeth, trimming your nails.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Depending on your job, if I were in the kitchen working, I wouldn't wear this beard. I wouldn't be able to stand it.
It's grabbing coffee with your friends. That is right up my alley. To business and beyond.
Couldn't wear one in the Navy. Rubber mask won't seal on this. If there's an emergency and I got to put it on an OBA to fight a fire or something, it's not going to seal. Won't do me any good to fight a fire if I have smoke inhalation, carbon dioxide poisoning or whatever. There's my link. Anybody want to come up before I take off? You're welcome to come on up. Gotti, Rusty, I see you posting in Vegas. I'm watching.
Look for fast, F, face dripping, A, arm weakness, S, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org.
I'll be leaving here pretty soon. I need to go do something.
Imagine that stroke experience. There's a constant parade of serious doctors.
Did I have a joint going in here? No, I must have smoked it. All right, well, I'll be back later. I have to go.
This is why Starlight exists. Starlight programs help kids in the hospital cope, build resilience.
Yeah.